Welcome back to our look at Poets and Pancakes. While the narrator spends his days among the sets and makeup rooms of Gemini Studios, he harbors a quiet ambition to be recognized as a prose writer. He believes that successful prose is rarely the result of a sudden flash of genius. Instead, it requires a specific kind of internal machinery, immense patience, and a thick skin. For an aspiring writer, the routine is grueling. You receive a rejection slip, calmly prepare a fresh copy of the manuscript, and mail it to a different editor. Only those with an almost stubborn level of perseverance survive the constant setbacks of the literary world. This perseverance leads the narrator to a tiny announcement hidden in an overlooked corner of the Hindu newspaper. It's a call for entries. A British literary magazine called The Encounter is organizing a short story competition. However, there is a problem. The Encounter is completely unknown to the literary circles at Gemini Studios. Before he risks his manuscripts and the cost of international postage, he decides to investigate this publication for himself. The discovery of that newspaper clipping shifts his momentum. He stops waiting for the world to notice him and begins the active work of tracking down his potential publisher. To begin his research, he visits the British Council Library. The library was uniquely welcoming. Unlike many official institutions of the time, it didn't use intimidating rules to keep the public at a distance. Once inside, he manages to find several copies of The Encounter. They look surprisingly fresh. The pages are crisp and untouched, suggesting that almost no one else in the city has been reading them. The pristine condition of the magazines makes the publication feel even more mysterious, prompting him to look closer at the editor's name. He opens the magazine specifically to see who is in charge. The editor is Stephen Spender. This is the same British poet who visited Gemini Studios years earlier to deliver a lecture no one understood. The narrator describes a bell ringing in his shrunken heart. The name is no longer just a distant literary figure, it's a personal connection. That recognition changes everything. He immediately seals his manuscript and addresses the envelope to Spender with a new sense of excitement. To describe this feeling, the narrator uses a humorous comparison drawn from his daily life in the film industry. He references a classic trope of Indian cinema, where two long-lost brothers recognize one another by singing the exact same song in different locations. He imagines that he and Spender are those brothers, spiritually linked across the world through the shared song of literature. It's an exaggerated metaphor, but it captures the sense of belonging a writer feels when they find a peer on the other side of the globe. Seeing Spender's name in the library finally provides an explanation for the poet's confusing visit to Gemini Studios. Through this investigation, we see the narrator's dual life. He fulfills his duties at the studio, but he is primarily a man of letters, dedicated to his craft and the wider world of literature. For your NCERT studies, keep these specific landmarks in mind: the ad in the Hindu, the mystery of the Encounter magazine, the trip to the British Council Library, and the revelation of Stephen Spender. Ultimately, it was a writer's quiet persistence and curiosity that turned an obscure newspaper clipping into a bridge across the literary world.